Terry, I hate to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I'm a natural cynic. Ryan's, of course, right. The crime led to somebody like Rudy Giuliani being elected in New York. I do not view us as being in a time of pendulum swings. I think the cities are going to descend into an endless black hole of violence, but I could be wrong. What say you?
No, I think that that's the big danger, right? A decline doesn't always mean there's going to be a rejuvenation, right? The decline usually leads to more decline. And what we're seeing in these blue cities, essentially, look, I'm from Illinois, right? So I'm very familiar with Chicago, machine-style politics. I think what's happened is all of these blue cities and a lot of these blue states have replicated that Chicago machine-style election system to where the game's rigged. Right, you're never going to get a Republican governor elected to California. They've fixed the system. They've taken care of that. And what's going to happen is the more crime, the more destruction, the more people are going to be fleeing these cities, these states, and the more violence they experience, they're just going to leave. And they're going to go to the other states and keep voting this way. Decline is going to lead to more decline, unfortunately, especially with the state of the Republican Party today. Now, there is some rejuvenation. We do have the DeSantis of the world rising up, but there's still a minority, right? There's still a very small minority in the Republican Party, but I do think there's a huge opening for someone like that to take national charge and then maybe bring in the National Guard to some of these cities that are really having serious crime sprees and bring in some law and order and show people that there's another way.
Ryan, you mentioned crime being a big deal, and it obviously is a big deal in the election, but why is it such a big deal for Republicans? Like, I don't live in one of these big cities. I would never live in one of these holes. I can look and be horrified, but it's not a huge issue for me because the crime in my area is fine. I'm not worried about that. Nobody's pooping on the sidewalk out in front of my house. Why do Republicans care so much about this?
Well, if it was just in these big cities, I would agree with you. But crime is up 30% in rural America. Crime is up 40% in suburban America. And what elected Rudy Giuliani more than just the issue of crime as a whole was the fact that crime was being committed specifically against one very important group in the subject of New York City, which is Orthodox Jews, who voted heavily for Democrats for mayor and then flipped to vote heavily for Republicans and elected Republicans for 20 years in New York City. Well, Orthodox Jews continue to vote Republican, especially on national issues. But what other two groups now are seeing crime in their areas in huge numbers? Hispanics and Asian. These are the two issues, and they are not, unfortunately, leaving these cities in droves. They have to live there. I mean, many of them live working-class jobs. They don't have the ability to just sit there and have telecommunication jobs in suburbs. They have to live in cities. This is the issue. You're going to sit there and bring them. And also, by the way, if you're not going to compete in these big blue states, good luck winning the House back. Unless California delivers a dozen Republican congressmen, I mean, good luck. Same thing with New York, same thing with Illinois, same thing with New Jersey, same thing with a lot of these other states. If you just give up on blue states and you give up on these congressional districts in blue states, the ones that deliver in Long Island and upstate and Orange County and in the Central Valley of California with those Hispanic voters, you can't win the majority back. They're just, I mean, you can't fix it because within these big red states, you have Dallas and Texas and the growing suburbs of Dallas and Texas, which are all very, very blue. So I think that crime is a very, very important issue. And the fact that people see it every single day on their cell phone cameras, on their computers and on their social media accounts, I think it can be an incredibly galvanizing issue. And the fact that also, by the way, we see who's committing the crime every single solitary day in many of these major incidents. And let me tell you, we don't see the same demographics at Trump rallies.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.